Hey, party people. Raise your hand if you've heard me say fabric technology is the future of fashion at least 3 times. On the channel, on Patreon, in my book, on social media, whatever. I am a broken record and I'm going to keep saying it because it is the future of fashion and the future is here at the Functional Fabric Fair. If you are remotely interested in sustainable fabrics, new innovations in materials technology, performance fabrics, outerwear fabrics, just cool stuff, okay? Trying to keep it clean for YouTube. You need to check out this trade show, okay? It is 300 plus vendors, which means that you have enough suppliers for you to have a very wide variety of things to look at. However, it's curated, it's focused on, specific categories. Listen, I've had a good time at larger trade shows where you see like everything, but it can be overwhelming. And so, a show like this where it's really focused in a specific direction is really good when you have a more narrowed focus as to what you want to create, what kind of things that you're looking for, or if you're just a materials geek like I am, to go look at a bunch of cool stuff. Listen, this is not one of those shows where when you first walk in, you're like, oh my God, all the pretty things, okay? Like you walk into some shows and you see these beautiful laces and embroideries, and you all have seen my sparkle hats. I love a girly, beautiful, precious sequin moment as much as the next girl. But this is different, okay? A lot of these fabrics, upon first glance, they're nothing special. It'll look like just a red swatch, a black swatch, some cool like knit patterns, but honestly, like on the surface, they don't look like much. But when you read the descriptions, when you read how they're sourced, how they're made, what their performance function is, and all the cool things that the fabric can do to make the wear more comfortable, make it easier on the environment to source, like all the cool technology that went into it, that's where the coolness factor kicks in, where you're like, oh snap, this is different. This is really different. This is not your ordinary flat, navy blue polyester, whatever fabric that you get from whatever place. This is so above and beyond that. I was able to talk to a few suppliers. Obviously, I did not have time or the wherewithal to connect with everyone, but I did talk to some very cool people and learn some super cool things about what they're doing in this space, in the sustainable, innovative materials space. And I want to share my experiences with you.
Are these going to be really tough questions?
Okay, like SAT level. I hope you're ready. Okay, hey, party people. We are here with the team from TURBODRY. Please say hi to my audience.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Jordan. This is Sam.
So can you tell us a little bit about what TURBODRY is?
TURBODRY is a fabric construction technology that excels in pulling moisture from the skin to the outside surface of the fabric.
TURBODRY is a construction-based moisture management technology. So it's not a chemical finish and it's not a functional yarn. It's truly based on the actual knitting construction of the fabric. So we measure TURBODRY testing criteria in 4 ways: absorbency, vertical wicking, one-way transport capacity, which is the moisture moving from the technical back of the fabric to the face, and then dry rate. We're really focused on that third, which is the one-way transport capacity. That's why we're different from the rest of moisture management technologies in the market, and that we're really focused on what the important end use is of wicking, moving the moisture from the back to the face to keep the wearer dry.
The construction itself is not particularly sustainable, but you could use any yarn to construct.
Yeah, I would say the sustainability angle is we don't need to have a chemical finish on it, where traditionally most moisture management technologies rely on a wicking finish. And then on top of it, you have the other end, which is a functional yarn. That's the other way you get moisture management or cooling. And that is typically a synthetic, so either a mineral is extruded or it's a specific cross-section. Because of that, the blend of the fabric to make the claim needs to be majority, usually that functional yarn, so the majority of the fabric needs to be a synthetic versus when you're just based on the construction, we can blend much higher natural fibers. So we can sub out any of the yarns for a more sustainable version. So if you have traditional regular non-recycled poly, we can swap it for post-consumer, pre-consumer recycled. We can really do it in any yarn combination.
I think one of the interesting points about TurboDry is when you compare the dry time performance to a synthetic, so a fully synthetic versus a natural blended TurboDry, the TurboDry with natural fibers will oftentimes outperform that of a fully synthetic fabric, which allows us to have performance in natural fiber constructions.
If I'm a designer and I'm like, I want this, like, how do I order fabric from you? How does that process work?
If you're a designer and you're interested in TurboDry, you would, if you're already working with a garment vendor, you would nominate on your BOM. You would specify that you want to use TurboDry fabric. You would work with one of us. We have a website. You can get in contact with us, and we can send you headers. You can decide which article number you'd want, and then you'd use that article number on your BOM to communicate to the garment vendor to go back to order fabric from us.
But the designer can't order from you necessarily.
The designer, if you're the end use and you want the fabric shipped to you, designer can order from us. We've shipped directly to people before.
Okay. And what are your minimums?
We have a special collection of core fabrics. Those minimums are 500, 500, MOQ, MCQ, both 500.
And that's like kind of like your in-stock program?
They're in stock. We keep about 500 yards in black in those, and then 2,000 in grays in those to dye. And so an in stock. And then depending on the specialty yarns, if you're wanting something with a different performance yarn, like we can knit with a dry release or we can knit with 37.5, the minimums will be higher based on the yarn supplier's minimums.
And can I ask you to source yarns? If I say like, hi, I want to do a linen knit, X percentage,
Yes, yeah, we can source yarns. For that question specifically, we've never done linen in TurboDry before, so we would need a new partner to collaborate with someone on that, but we can source linen yarn. We also do elastics, narrow good elastic bands. So when you think of like a sports bra, most sports bras have a moisture management technology, but the elastic underband is very forgotten, and you walk around with soggy band all day, even though your fabric's dry and your band's cold and soggy. We have TurboDry elastic underbands, bra straps.
That, like, I live in California. I need that one just for every day.
We
It's
need
summer.
a designer to make it happen. We have the elastic ready. We just need someone to design into it.
We manufacture in 3 countries, Vietnam, China, and Sri Lanka.
How are those tariffs treating you?
They haven't hit us yet.
Well, China's hit us. Being on the fabric side, you don't have the same tariffs you face when you import the garment in, because we're usually shipping the fabric to the garment factory to be made. So for independent designers who are ordering fabric, we would want to encourage them to ship from Sri Lanka or Vietnam if they're going to be shipping to the U.S. But so far, garment-wise, tariff really is more important where your garment factory is shipping from, because that's your country of origin for your garment.
That is a good thing to note for designers.
So we can help. Our customer truly is a garment factory. That's our immediate customer. Okay. We work with brands to partner with the marketing story. We work with brands just to have a conversation with them so we can help them build a technology platform. But really, our immediate customer is their garment factory, and they're nominating our fabric. So
Our audience is always wanting like recommendations.
Good. Your audience is a good size for Bob too, or like smaller brands if they're just getting started. Bob is based in El Salvador. He's with Apparel Source Company.
Okay, we brought 3 products over to showcase some of the TurboDry fabric in the market. The first is a Mizzen in Maine Knox t-shirt. This is a modal blend, highlighting some of our capabilities within the natural blended space. The next product is the Victoria's Secret Featherweight Sports Bra. It is lined with TurboDry fabric and one of the most successful programs at Victoria's Secret right now. The third and final product, we brought in Bob to help explain how TurboDry interacts with a factory.
Hi, Bob.
How are you?
So this is a municipal shirt. We have 2 silhouettes. One is a polo, one is a crew neck t-shirt. TurboDry is the fabric technology. Municipal worked with us to nominate the fabric, And then Bob took over to manufacture.
We manufacture the products in El Salvador, and Central America is duty-free. So we bring the goods in from Asia. We pay the duty on the goods, but the actual product is assembled and made in El Salvador.
Okay, perfect. That's what we were trying to explain earlier, how you
Great.
pay the duty.
So that's how the relationship between the fabric supplier, the brand, and the end garment manufacturer work together.
So my name is JP Brogan. I've been in the industry since January 1990, probably before most of your parents were out of school and stuff like that. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in this industry. I started out in children's wear, then into intimate apparel, then into swim, into active, and now we cover all of it. So we manufacture fabrics, synthetic fabrics from Billion Rise Knitting in China, and our new factory in Vietnam that we just opened like literally 2 weeks ago.
The timing is beautiful.
Timing is perfect.
Wow.
Timing is perfect. It's been in process for a long time, trying to get everything going. But I think that being outside of China as well is going to be very helpful, and then we see where it goes from there. The factory is amazing that we have right now in China, and we're going to build an even bigger factory in Vietnam.
I feel like Vietnam is really booming in terms of production.
It is really booming. I tell you, I've been all over Asia. I had never been to Vietnam before. I think that Vietnam is really interesting, and if I just went for the first time, for the grand opening. It was amazing. Really enjoyed it. I was only there for like 3 days, but I'm planning on going back again, spending some more time there. Vietnam is a great place to manufacture. Problem is the infrastructure is just not there yet. So everything is growing. And honestly, I think it's just going to grow a lot faster. So, but it's fantastic people, great workers, very interesting. So I've been doing, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm based in New York. I am the co-chair on the Underfashion Club board of directors, which is based in New York. It is a nonprofit group organization that hands out scholarships to worthy students going into FIT and other schools, also in high schools, coming into colleges. We've kind of made it our mission in life to help people get involved in this industry and to really bring youth of America and all over the world actually into the fashion industry. We used to be more limited to under fashion, however that's changing. We're evolving with the way the world is now, and we're, like I said, we're just not in intimates, we're in active wear. There's so much crossover. So we're dealing with all the big companies out there, the big brands out there, the Instagram brands, the e-commerce brands. It's been a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to what's next because it's, like I said, it's growing and it's growing really fast and we're enjoying it and kind of fun.
So let's say I'm a designer and I want to work with you. I saw this rack when I was walking the show and I want to work with you. How do I start that? Like, how do I start the conversation? What's the approach?
I love working with startups. I wish I could do more for startups. Startup companies are a lot of fun because people come in with great ideas, passion projects that turning into, hey, you know what, I've tried all this, now I actually want to do this full time and I want to go into something I really care about. How do I get started? So I think one of the most important things is going up and coming to these fairs like the Functional Fabric Fair and actually just meeting with companies, just walk around, stop in. People are more than happy to talk to you. Let them know up front, hey, I'm a startup. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm looking for. What I recommend is always saying, the big question is, hi, what are your minimums? I'm like, you know what, it's not about the minimums, but it's like, what do you guys want to do? Like, what do you want to accomplish? What are you trying to make? How can we help you? That's been my focus, to try to help people. And like I said, I have a passion for startups. So I say, hey, we have some ideas. We have some programs that we run on a regular basis. Maybe you can tag on. Maybe our minimums might be 3,000 yards for a new order and 500 yards per color or per print. But maybe if we tag you on to something that's already running, we can do smaller MOQs and smaller MCQs for you to help you get started. Because that's where you need to be. You need to start. And then I also help because I'm knowledgeable in like with the garment factories, and we try to put some people together with garment factories that will work with these startups. So it's walking around, meeting people, not being afraid to. I'm getting I'm getting waved by a fan out there. Hey, so so.
The best fabric mill, Billion Rise.
And the best person,
And the
Janet.
best-
Janet's the best. Janet's the best.
Sales follow-up, JP. He is the most amazing lead.
Oh, you're so funny. Yes, thanks. I'll pay you later. So going back to like just startups in general, though, best thing is walking around, talking to people, having that initiative, not being afraid to walk into a booth, actually talk to people and ask questions, and then listen. Because what people will tell you is really important. I think one of the biggest problems is a lot of people don't listen well. Listen to what people are telling you. Listen to what people are trying to help you. Other big thing I say is get on LinkedIn. It's free. It's the greatest connection. You connect with people for free. Meet people, connect with them. Connect with their connections. Build up your own network. Absolutely bug me on LinkedIn. I think that is the greatest thing. When my daughter came into the industry, she started hooking up with all my contacts. I'm like, and they started saying to me, hey, I'm getting a call from your daughter. Why is she trying to connect to me? I'm like, she's building her brand. She's building her network. She's building it up. This is what you do. So LinkedIn is the greatest thing possible. I also mentioned before about the Underfashion Club. Joining clubs, joining organizations, getting involved is the best way to network, meet people, and then work with people.
Yeah, I keep telling people go to a trade show and talk to people because, a lot of people, they're like, I have no background in fashion, but I have this idea. And I'm like, okay, well, you need to build your network in fashion. Go to a trade show, go look at, you couldn't even imagine all the things that are available, how technology has grown, and go talk to people. When I had Melissa on the channel and I was interviewing her, we were talking about building relationships, because sometimes you meet somebody and you just know it's not going to be a fit.
Yeah.
Like the vibe is off, and you cannot do that on email.
Can't
Like,
do it
you
on
can't,
Zoom.
you gotta
It's got to be right here.
talk to people, and you're either gonna mesh and you're gonna have a shared language, or you're not. And
Agree. I would say invest in the time and the money to come to these shows, walk around and learn. And you learn so much. There's like so much new product. And, if your whole thing is about sustainability, well, there's a lot of ways to become sustainable. Like, whether it's buying recycled yarn or whatever it is, some sort of recycling is better than no sort of recycling, or some sort of sustainability. It's really interesting. And this is the place where you can definitely learn about all that. And again, ask questions. Sit in on the seminars, all the different things that they're talking.
yeah, I think sometimes we live with the privilege of so much internet that we forget that sometimes just talking to a person and having a conversation actually gets so much more done.
Totally. It's like, and I'm gonna, like I said, you can't do this on a Zoom. You could talk, it's nice, you could chat and stuff like that, but we're like in a touchy-feely business where I want to show you something. Can't do that.
I want to touch all this stuff.
You can't do that like on a, you just can't do that on a call, whatever it is, whatever the platform is. But this is the best thing right here, face to face, like I'm doing right now, face to face. And don't be afraid, don't be shy, come out. I couldn't help somebody today but I knew somebody who could help them, who's here at the show, and I said, you know what, go to that booth over there, speak to them. They can help you. They have small minimums. They can work with you on colors. We can't be all things to all people all the time, but there are other companies out there. And again, this is what you learn by walking around.
Yeah, I was just talking to this guy. He has a factory in China, and I want to do a factory tour for my channel, but I can't exactly go to China right now. And so he's like, I know a guy who has a factory in LA that you could visit.
Oh,
I'm moving to LA this summer, so I'm like, so he just walked me over and just introduced us. And I might be doing a factory tour this summer.
That could be a lot of fun. That could be a lot of fun. Going to a factory, that's the biggest thing for a startup. I think it's like an aha moment. You have this concept, like you wear this clothing and you have this idea of what you want to make. But until you go to a factory and actually see it being produced, it's like kind of like you walk in, you're like, whoa, this all makes sense now. So if you can get to a factory, any factory, if you can get to a knitting mill, if you can get to a spinner, if you can get to a garment manufacturer. I grew up, one of my first jobs in the industry I was really more in intimate apparel, was making bra cups. We were making foam bra cups in New York and Long Island, which eventually went to Dominican Republic, which eventually went to Mexico and to Asia. But again, it's a hands-on, it's a hands-on experience because you're making the stuff to fit and you're making it with your hands and you're learning and you're seeing it and you're doing it. It's one thing to, to hear about it or to watch it, but to actually go there and do it, and to see it with your own eyes, it's amazing. Billion Rise was started about 20, how many years now, Charles? How many years are we open? How many? 22 years ago by the man sitting to my right over here. And great company. We're in Fogang, China, which is just outside of Guangzhou. Amazing factory, amazing facility, great product. We're all about sustainability.
So I'm reading your signage, and we understand recycled nylon, but what is bio-based spandex?
Bio-based spandex. Bio-based spandex is spandex that's actually made from corn. So it is corn, yes. So it's all kinds of corn, starch. Bio-based yarn is made from basically corn. So I think in the United States, maybe 99% of the corn that we grow is actually for production use. It's not for edible. It's not like edible. 1% might be what we're actually consuming in corn. The rest of it is all for different processes like ethanol, making different things based from corn. So bio-based is a natural spandex which is made from corn. So you could do, if you want to have a completely sustainable garment, you could have bio-based nylon or recycled nylon or recycled polyester, bio-based spandex. You could do a clean dye that we offer, which is made from, I'll just pull this up for a second, a clean dye that we offer, which is made from algae. Algae is collected from all over the world and then processed in one location, and then you get a nice color palette on, let me see if I don't know if you got a wide shot on that, but this happens to be this is like one color palette. Again, this is from algae, so you're kind of limited on how many colors you can produce, but it's an amazing, clean, sustainable dye process.
Do you have any last words for my audience?
Yes, I'm going to look you right in the eye. Get involved. Be personable. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. I know it's hard. But it's great to be able to walk up to people, hang out with people, get to know people. I think it's a great, great thing overall. I've had a great career in this industry. I keep saying that word, great. I've had a wonderful career in this industry. I find the people that we work with, we're kind of a tight-knit community of the fact that we're all in this together. And we try to help each other out. So my final thing is, get involved, try to come to these shows, ask a lot of questions, don't be afraid. Get on LinkedIn, stay on social media, follow things that are important to you, and really just get a good vibe from the people you're working with, and good luck. We need you for the future, so help us out.
Education break. So the day before the actual trade show, Functional Fabric Fair hosted this sustainability workshop where we learned about tiers. So to recap, basically, tiers break up the sections of the supply chain into categories that make sense for your everyday person. So tier 4 are raw materials, whether they are cotton from the ground or recycled nylon. Tier 3, are the people who make the fibers, who make the yarns. And then tier 2 are the people who take those yarns and weave them into fabrics, knit them into fabrics, dye them into colors, print patterns onto them. Tier 1, finished goods. And then all the way to the left, we have brands. That's the designers. That's the clothing designers, brands. All right. And there's your supply chain.
My name is Mark Block, and I work for Cyclone Technology. We make recycled yarn, both bottle to textile and textile to textile.
And then, hi everyone, my name is Susie, and I am with the same team with Mark. And we are the company make the recycled yarn, and for now we're doing the bottle to textile, mechanical recycling, also the textile to textile. That means we use the recycled garments and then to make the new yarn and to do the new garments. That's we call textile to textile, which is a very trendy product for now. Yes.
So I think a lot of people, when they first hear the word yarn, they think knits automatically. Is that true? You only do yarns for knits?
We make yarns for knits and wovens.
All right.
Yeah.
People always want to fight me. They're like, yarns are for knitting. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
yarns is the base for fabrics. Like, you can weave them. Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to clarify that for everybody. Who is your customer? Like, where in the supply chain are you? Do you work with designers directly ever?
That's a great question, and we do work with design teams when it's directed by a brand, and we work with many of the largest sportswear brands on the globe. I shouldn't and can't name all of them because we have NDAs with many of them, if not all of them. But generally, our customers are the tier 2s who are purchasing yarn, and then a lot of times it's directed by the brands where they should be purchasing yarn. So we work directly with the brands where it's directed by the brands, and then we work directly with the tier 2s who are purchasing yarn from us and inquiring about newer yarn technologies.
I am going to go over the tiers and everything in the beginning of the video.
Oh, yeah,
So for people who are new to sourcing,
Yes.
if you're a brand and you are interested in this technology where you are recycling old garments and turning them into new yarns, then would you be talking to a mill and requesting your services for a fabric?
That is a great question again, and yes. So if brands are looking for specific textile to textile and they don't have relationships with the yarn makers, then yes, they should be requesting that of their tier 2 or mills that they're working with.
Is there anything more that you want my audience or the public at large to know about your company?
There is tons. We would love for the public to know about our company. Mainly is the fact that we are sustainability focused. Our goal is to divert textile waste from the landfills, and generally that's what textile to textile yarn manufacturing does. There are certain attributes to it that use maybe slightly more energy or different LCA or life cycle assessment, and in some cases it's not quite as good as the bottle to textile when it comes to energy use. But when you're talking about diverting that textile forever from the landfill, it really becomes a much better situation for the planet when you're diverting it and giving it a new life that can be recycled and circular over and over and over.
Where do you get those garments from? Are there companies that just like sell garments? They're like, hey, these are going to go to the landfill if you don't get them.
It is a great question, and Susie, I don't know if you want to answer that.
Okay, so because we are mainly focused in China, so all the waste coming only from China due to the policy reasons, and also China we can supply the very enough sufficient feedstock. So we have cooperated with the brands to collect their cutting scraps. Also, we cooperate with the community donations or some school or enterprise to collect their uniforms, etc. Yeah,
Wow.
that's we call the post-consumer and pre-consumer waste. Yes,
Right.
yes.
And then the other part is we do have collection stations in China, which are big green boxes where people can bring their old garments, and those get collected and consolidated and brought back to us.
We need that in the U.S. also.
We do, and I think a couple of groups have tried, and I know a lot of brands have take-back programs, at their retail stores, but it hasn't, the consumer hasn't really fully caught on. No one brings their old garments back to the retail store, but it is a culture that we're trying to influence and trying to change. We see a lot of opportunity in North America, specifically because there's tons of consumerism here and lots of consumption of polyester in particular. So it's a region of the world that we see as having a lot of opportunity, whether that's us or other folks that are setting up shop in North America.
How do you deal with blended fiber fabrics?
Great question. And I can answer a little bit of this. Susie probably knows much more about this than I do, but Generally, we, in our current state, which is where we recycle pretty much only polyester at the current state, we ask for our garments to be 85% or more polyester content. We can recycle garments that are less than 85%. However, it does really influence our efficiency. So if we're taking garments that are 60% poly, 40% something else, cotton, it really lowers our efficiency rate, and we want to keep our efficiency high for obvious reasons, less energy use and more output.
Okay, here is how we're dealing with the post-consumer garments. So for now, we have a auto sorting machines, which is the world first, that can be put into much scale, and then we will put randomly the waste garments into it, and then we have 2 scanners, so we can scan the surface of the contents. And then for now, because we require like over 85% of polyester, and then first scanner will scan if it's over 85% of polyester. If it's qualified, we will go to the next step. And if it's unqualified, and we will have a second time auto sorting, like we can sort out the nylon or cotton, we can send a third party to do the recycle, right? And then second, we will have a cutting. So we cut into the whole pieces of garments into smaller pieces, and then we can better identify the inner layer, what's the inner layer contents. And before that, we have a process to get rid of the metal button and zipper. And then this we can also be recycled into other materials. And then the second scanner, we will scan the interface. See the first part is we start out at over 85% polyester, and the second scanner will scan if it's over 15% of impurity. Okay. Yeah, if impurity is over 15% will be removed out, and we use the qualifier. That's how we deal with the post-consumer garments. Yes.
Y'all's technology is incredible.
It's pretty cool. I will also add that the impurities, or the 15% that is not poly, it might be spandex, it might be dye stuff, it might be chemistry. All of that is, let's just say, pushed to the side. It goes down a different channel, and it does get downcycled. It does not go to the landfill. Generally, we send it off to construction companies that use it for filler in concrete or building materials. But just wanted.
I know jeans get sent to become insulation.
Exactly. So there's a lot of that when it comes to textile downcycling.
We do chemical separation.
So we do the chemical separation, yes, and then those impurities are sent off to be downcycled, whereas everything that does meet the polyester attributes gets moved down the line and is then turned into recycled poly yarn. So cool. It's very cool, yeah. So it's kind of like there's no waste coming off of the production line for our textile to textile. It's really unique. If you're looking to change the globe with your design and with your apparel or footwear, we work with tons of footwear, come see us. We have a state-of-the-art facility. I've been to a handful of yarn makers in my 15, 20-year career in this industry of textiles. I've never seen anything like Cyclone. It really is unique from scale and capability, and the people. Susie and her team at the headquarters are world class. We really have a great staff.
Come to see us. We are the world's the only one, the biggest one, and only 2. But we are the biggest one. We have the highest capacity in the world, and we have the creatively the most advanced technology, which I cannot show here. Come to see us, visit us, how we can see this revolution in this industry.
We invite you to come see the factory anytime. It's really special.
Drop me a comment if you want me to go visit their factory for a video. I didn't have enough time to sit down and record a full interview with the COLORSORTS team, but I did want to mention them. They are basically transforming pre-industrial cotton waste, like cutting room scraps, sorting them by color, thus the name, and then turning them into new fabrics. So it's a completely mechanical process as opposed to a chemical process. And they partner exclusively with GRS certified textile exchange manufacturers. And you should definitely also check them out. So here are my final thoughts on the show. I had a blast. I learned a ton. And this display that you're seeing, iconic outerwear throughout history, was really cool to look at. Here's the thing. Everyone was talking about tariffs, okay? And the thing is, nobody can really make a definitive, this is what we're going to do moving forward, because the status on the tariffs changes every day. But here's the thing, is something we can do is to diversify our export countries, diversify our product offerings and revenue streams. Like, I think the big takeaway lesson here is to diversify all these things so that, and I'm talking about these companies, your company, no company is completely dependent on one revenue source, one item, one country of export, like for all the company's revenue. And I think the big winners out of this whole debacle is going to be the South Asian and Southeast Asian countries that China is turning to diversify their factory base. I think that China is currently and will continue to funnel their production through Vietnam, Cambodia, Sri Lanka. They're going to be the big winners here. Like, all these other countries that had been bypassed because of China's capabilities. And if you are still in the last century and think that the Chinese are peasants in a factory dimly lit by candles, like, you need to come to this century, okay, come to the year 2025 and understand the technological capabilities of Chinese factories, okay? But the ones who had been planning ahead, like Billion Rise, where they had been setting up their factory in Vietnam for the last 12 months, they're going to be ahead because now they have options and people are scrambling to create those options. So take this as a lesson and start thinking about how you can diversify all your different offerings and anything that you can, within the realms of, am I still staying true to my brand values? Am I still trying to be as sustainable company as possible? All these things. I know some of you are really tired of me pushing for trade shows. I am still team trade show, and it's not because Functional is paying me millions of dollars to say that. I've always been pro trade show because there's so many great things that you can get out of trade shows, and this one is a particularly good one if you are in these product categories. You need to think about traveling to a trade show as an investment for your company's future. Even if you can't go every year, if you can't go to all the ones, try to, do your research, pick one that you think will be, and this is why I keep making trade show videos and will continue to make trade show videos, so that you can do your research, plan ahead, and invest in the one that suits your needs the best. You need to think about trade shows as not the Halloween costume you buy at Shein for $6. You need to think of going to trade shows as your investment overcoat that you'll be wearing for many, many winters. If you are interested in sustainable fabrics, materials innovations, the future of fashion, the future of materials, and you want to go check out these fabrics, you need to check out the Functional Fabric Fair. They're in New York, they're in Portland. I'm going to drop links in the video description below. Go check them out. I had an amazing time. If I met you at Functional and you're watching this, shout out in the comments. Hi, guys. And I will see you in the next video.
Hi, I'm Jordan. My coworker is obsessed with you.
But not you.
I didn't know about you until today.
Oh, okay.
She said, you gotta go get her. I want to meet her. Should I do it again? Yes.
We're live.
We're not live. We're not live. But I am going to include all these outtakes for fun.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
You know what? Let me tell you something, okay? Designers are always so scared of suppliers. I even like during my book signing today, somebody was like, I'm so scared to talk to everybody. I'm like, they're big old geeks obsessed with whatever thing they're working on. Like, you think they're the prom kings from high school? They are absolutely not. Just
We are the big old
go say
geeks.
hi, be nice, call it a day. Like,